The question is, we are struggling to transform our MDF. What are your predictions on this model, or should we just throw it away and shift the money to other things like incentives, or can you suggest somewhere else? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so MDF is a good example of where we have a big problem. MDF today is funded through the transaction. So many companies will spend upwards, let's say 1% of all revenue on MDF. And then, with gold, silver, bronze, try to allocate and drive yield and everything else. But in the actual through channel marketing automation that drives, there's like 17% adoption. You've got 66% of partners that don't have the marketing skills or resources or belief that it works. So the industry has a little bit of a problem there. But the biggest problem is the way that it's funded. To fund that early influence, like to grab your top 5, top 10 people that are out there building ebooks and podcasts and really pushing your customer to vendor selection in your favor, you're going to have to spend capital dollars there. There's no transaction to fund that, especially after the point as well. You don't have any gross to nets or revenue reduction dollars to go spend after the point of transaction to do the marketing necessary to upsell, cross-sell, and enrich. So here it is. You've got to have a really complicated and hard conversation with your CFO. The problem is, in the same room, the head of direct sales is, lobbying for a new salesperson, and they know exactly to the 7th decimal point what that's going to drive in terms of return and when. Next to them is the head of marketing. Now they have, the 7th decimal point, the campaign they're going to run, all the levers and dials. They're going to explain that don't hire the salesperson for 150, give that money to me, and here's, how we're going to drive it faster. We're not equipped yet to have that third conversation, because we know by research, if you give the 150,000 to the ecosystem, it's even going to give a bigger multiple of return even faster. But we're not even at the 7th decimal point. I don't think we're at the 1st decimal point. So this is why we work with, ChannelAssist, and this is why innovation in this area to equip us to go have this conversation in this decade, where some of our counterparts have had 20 years to kind of lock their, return into a science.